Hello everybody, this is Matador from freetradingvideos.com. It's April 20th, 2009, and it looks like stocks are sliding as investors dump financials. Nice headline here from Yahoo Finance. Basically, investors are worrying about the bank's profits reports and wondering if it's going to be a longer-term move to the upside or if it's just simply masking a larger problem with bad debt. Calling that the eye of the storm almost. And the way that the markets reacted to that, you can see here in the S&P 500. If you haven't seen it already, big gap down this morning. If you do look at pre-market and post-market data, just throw a 24-hour up here. You can see that that was more of a constant slide, bit of a gap down, but it sold off pre-market here, and this is where the gap was. So pretty interesting to see that. Going back to regular, we can actually just leave that up there. But this sell-off now is now basing on its low, but it's in the context of this. So here we are looking at a 60-minute chart of, again, the S&P 500. We're now back to this area where we were a few days ago. So big gap down, big sell-off, 3 solid 60-minute bars in a row, right down to the rising 100 MA, and the support level is actually right through here. All right, so that's the low. Here's another area, so we're kind of touching that area, testing it right now, and that's what I would be watching for, a breakdown through that. On a daily chart, this nice high base that we're putting in actually in many ways remains intact. I'm not saying this isn't damage, but we now have support below us. Again, we're testing that now, and we have resistance above us in the form of this gap that just got formed today. Much nicer if today hadn't gapped down, if it had just put in another bar, but that's not what we have. So we have to take that into account, understand it, trade off of it, and then understand it even better by looking at the tick and the trend and the VIX like we always do. And there's a huge divergence now. It was so massive that I had to go look at another piece of redundant software above TradeStation here to actually believe it. So when I look at the tick, no problem here. Most of the day was spent below zero. A lot of negative, right? A lot of stocks hitting their inside bid or lower. And then the trend, so the New York Stock Exchange trend is at 2.24 right now. And it has been well above even 1.2 or 1.4 all day long, which is extremely bearish. All right, so that's matching the sell-off that we're seeing in the market. But look at the trend Q. And this is not a mistake. It's at 0.21 roughly, and it's been there all day long. And again, that was so dramatic of a difference. I had to come over here and look at Think or Swim to see if that was true, and it looks to be that way. So 0.17, 0.21, very, very close, just minor differences in the way that they calculate those things. But the big tiebreaker here for me, in my eye, is the VIX. And this has been on a tear up all day long. Big gap up, just like the market's gap down, and it's run higher all day long. That shows me a little bit of fear in the people that are investing. That's just a massive climb back up, from 33 area up into 38, 39 area. So this is a bit of a tiebreaker for me. A little bit more bearish today than I am bullish, but this is also not perfectly confirming the bearish side of things. So be very, very careful how you do go short, seeing that this is not confirming the move to the downside, at least in the trend Q. So it's important to keep those into account. You can actually see some stocks that are experiencing relative strength, and we are holding up briefly here in the S&P 500 at this low. Huge amount of support right here. That's the same swing low that we saw on the daily chart. If I were to zoom out, there's that line right there. So you can zoom in. There he is. That's the same line. If I zoomed away in on the daily chart, that would be right there. So a line on any chart is a line on all of them. All right, so again, take that into account. Realize this is still a very nice high base brewing. I've seen some of the ugliest red bars my whole life come out of a beautiful high base like this, and that's when everybody thinks it's going to go higher, changes their mind suddenly, and they bail out or go short or both. So anyway, be careful how you trade in here, and as always, of course. And thank you for your comments. In the previous videos, go ahead and send me some more of those, and I'm going to burn a nice video. Hopefully I'll get to that tonight. I thought I was going to over the weekend. It didn't quite happen, but hang in there with me. So take care, everybody, and look forward to D7's video this afternoon, and I'll talk to you soon.